my language.
Bésame mucho. Come on. Bésame mucho.
Is that what it is?
Okay.
That's Kiss Me a Lot. I think that's Italian.
In Italian?
I think so.
We are the lovers of the world.
Kiss me a lot.
All right.
The French are the romantic.
This is not getting any better. Why don't we start? Hey, welcome to Ed, a podcast about the teaching life. This is Conversation 40, and I'm your host, Shane Lawrence. Ed is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network powered by ATB. And joining me this time out is Shaun Smith.
Hello, Shane Lawrence.
Hello, Shaun Smith.
That's good.
All right, that was great. And Aaron Camponi.
Hello. That wasn't as creepy as you guys.
You've got time. You'll manage.
Hello, Aaron.
Hello. Good day. Glad to be here.
That's good because I know I wrangled you in the last. I kind of like tricked you into joining today.
What's the phrase? Long time fan, first time caller.
Actually, you're not. This is your third time on the show.
No,
No, I came up to you at the end of the day and was like, "What are you doing after school?" Nothing.
that was the old bait and switch.
Great, you can be on a podcast.
Hey, I value you and your time only if you come on my podcast.
Yep.
No, it's always
Accurate.
Okay. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome here. That's my contribution. I'm the show's greeter.
All right, you're doing a great job.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're
Welcome to you, viewer.
I love that little vest you're wearing too.
Thank you.
With the Ed logo on it. It's fantastic. All right. So this month, obviously, we're going to be diving into the usual. We're going to be doing our wins and fails. We're going to be talking about teaching, if teaching were a video game, and then we're going to get to timeouts afterwards, which might be other video games. I don't know. Probably for me, it will be. Anyway, so wins and fails. Let's just dive right in. Does anyone have anything that's like they got burning in their soul they need to share right now? Awkward silence.
Wins and fails at 3:22.
I got to win. I got to win.
Okay.
Anyway, it's an overall win, and I'll cite a recent example. Is like, it started actually last year when one of my students in my film studies class was talking about, she just wanted, can we just do like some little like labs, like little practice things? I'm like, that's a great idea. So we only had time to do one last year because they take, even the smallest sort of film thing takes at least a couple of classes. And this year we've done two now and probably do one more before the end of the semester. And they've been going really, really good. So we just did one where like we're in the middle of sort of a genre study of film noir. And so I got my students to do a little bit of research and find like a freeze frame from film noir, like primarily from like the 50s, like the kind of noir you think of, like sort of like the detectives and the harsh lights and the deep shadows and all that kind of stuff. And then we had one class to just get ready to do it. And then next class, it's like, okay, here's a couple of lights, go find a place in the school, recreate that photo, off you go. And I mean, honestly, I thought the results would be okay, but the results were just like, they were so good, so good. And they managed to do it all in that one class. So, with 80 minutes, they managed to, get all their lights, get their location, do their shoot, edit the photo, upload it. So
Wow.
Can't do that in junior high.
Seriously.
Yeah. So, that was a big win. It was awesome. So,
maybe a fail for me.
yes.
Let's see. Okay, so we have this collaboration with Shane's film class, and I'm kind of the digital side.
You're going to complain about me now, aren't you?
No, not at all.
Welcome,
and,
Shane.
And just like it's a common problem with communications between two different groups of high school students. But my kids were kind of waiting for some information from some of Shane's kids. There you go. I'm pointing the finger at you now.
Yeah, there you see.
No, but and so I was like, we gotta get to the bottom of this because my kids really need to work on their side of the project, but they don't know like what the movie title is. They don't even know what the movie's about. So I'm like, I'm getting all riled up. Oh, no. I'm just getting worked up, and so I tracked them down, stormed in the room, and I'm like, "Hey, what's going on? We need some creativity, please. Communication." I didn't actually say it like that at all, but I just
imagining
realized
like the Tom Cruise couch jumping thing.
That's right. Yeah, well, out of anger, not of happiness.
Oh, okay.
But it was. I think I had to like check myself immediately because the two individuals that I was talking to or addressing were like these two very sensitive individuals who I could tell as soon as I like opened the door, there's like, and just kind of like almost like hovered or not hovered, like turtled in the corner, like immediately. I'm like, this is not how we open up a creative conversation. So I had to like tone it down drastically immediately and then try to draw out some ideas that they could communicate with my team and back and forth. And so in the end, it worked out nicely, but I had to go kind of apologize to one of them after. I was like, I hope I didn't like scare you guys and just like kill the workflow between our two groups. So that was kind of a bit of a fail. I mean, unless this is like an interview scenario, then this was a fail that became a win. I learned something from it. So it's now, this is a positive. But then I did it again today. That's the second part of the fail 2.0 is I was trying to track down some equipment that didn't get returned. And I was just like coming in hot, storming in, and totally sliced my arm open on the CNC router that's sitting in my room. Just ran in and just like sliced it open. I'm like, and then of course the piece was in the bag, just like in a hidden compartment that I couldn't find.
Yep.
And so I'm like, oh, well, if that's not karma, I don't know what is.
Brilliant.
So, sorry for falsely accusing that student. And
I love it.
I will bandage my wounds physically and emotionally.
I think we should make a game where we have to do that scenario, what you did for fail 1.0 tomorrow. In each of our classes, you have to come in hot and just be like, let's get some creativity.
Yeah, storm in and see what comes up.
And it doesn't matter what you're teaching on that day. You have to actually transition.
Angry tone.
Yeah, angry tone
That's
for
the challenge.
creativity. And then you have to transition and really make a good
For
experience.
10 teacher points.
Yeah.
10 XP.
And you can play along, listener.
That's right. Comment below.
That's-
Like, subscribe.
I have not contributed anything so far to this podcast.
You've taken away a little
value.
maybe.
Whenever you hear my voice, it's just like, okay, we're going to go to
Or the
someplace
background
else.
sound
Yeah.
effects.
Yeah.
Bleep, bloop.
Yeah, beep, boop. Welcome here. I would say win. I mean, mine's not as dramatic. I teach a computers class, so it's all computer themed because it's a video game. And I had a couple of students who, when we turned on this program called Photoshop,
Heard of it.
It was sheer terror at the beginning of the year. Like, actually, how do I make a new document? Okay, they're called pixels, not inches, and that's why your image is so very small. And how do I make it? How do I drag it from Google to onto the Photoshop? And you're like, okay, this is my life. But to see those same kids here now, we're in whatever month it is, where it is warmer. That's all that matters. And the confidence that they actually have. We've had a couple of light turn on moments throughout the year where they're like, oh no, I can do that. And I can do that. And yet you get the kids who are really skilled in Photoshop and they're kind of lazy. And they're like, hey, let's put this body of this famous political leader on this person now. And you're like, okay, well, you did that 18 times. But the ones who had a struggle are actually continuing that struggle and have gotten really, really good. So one of our assignments is an exploratory assignment where you can teach, you have to learn 2 or 3 skills in something that you want to learn. So additionally, so if you're good at whatever photo editing, then you got to go further than that and really get a technique and one of the girls, I didn't mean to mention that, but she actually has developed her own website with a store attached. Same student who had a hard time opening Photoshop. And I just think that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
And her concern today was, should I have a sale button here or multiple places on the site? And I'm like, look, I make websites for a living. I think you might be beyond me at this point. That's pretty cool to see. Just that confidence of like,
Yeah.
look, I don't really care about your deadline that you're imposing on me in 10 minutes. I want to add something to this. So just that sort of like ownership of project and walking through that is kind of cool to see. And then because of the other areas that I teach more dominantly, you don't frequently see something like that. So it's pretty cool.
Right on.
Yeah. Welcome here.
I'm happy to sit here for a moment, just have dead space. I'm tired. Today was a tough day.
I
It's
think
a tough day and I've done a really great day, actually.
I think every teacher who's actually listening right now
Yeah.
should just have a moment of breathing.
That's what you just have a blank space. And it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
everybody, we bring this blank space to you right
Your
now.
requirement is a really good set of noise canceling earphones
Yeah.
and total silence for 10 seconds and see how it disrupts you. I think that'd be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I think I would fall asleep.
All right. Let's talk about our topic then.
Yeah.
Let's do our topic.
Brilliant.
Let's fill the space with talk. We're gonna this kind of came out of it's a podcast I listened to called Gamers with Jobs, and it's about gamers with jobs. It's about people my age who have families and stuff, but also still like video games. So I can somehow justify my immature pastimes. So it just kind of got me thinking about like they talk about all sorts of different kinds of video games, and there seems to be, there's video games about being a parent. There's video games about, cancer. There's video games about everything except teaching. I thought, well, what would the teaching video game look like? I mean, how would that work? And I'm not talking about like, how do we game the system? Teaching's just a game. Like, but what would the actual, like if I went out to a store or however it is, went to a digital store to download the teaching game, what would that game be?
Okay, so what would the goal of the game be? Would it be like to train teachers in university, or is this just for fun to see what kind of shenanigans arise in my class?
Yeah, this is not an educational game, just to be clear?
No, it's not an educational game. It's
like
both? The Sims.
It's the bait and switch.
It's not like one of the horrible educational games.
This is fun. You're learning.
Teach. It's not trying to teach you how to teach. It's like, how do you score points? What kind of is it a first person shooter? That's not good. No, it's not like, but I mean, is it a first person thing? Is it like a strategy game? Is it going to be a role playing game?
It's almost like a sad commentary on our current state of education when there's like grades are points. Like kids are wanting to get this.
Ooh, so how do you score
points? They want to win by getting the A+.
So there's two sides to the cover then.
Yeah.
There's like the sad sort of teacher who's got A+ written on the back of the video game cover, or you can flip that cover and you can be like, see kids' hearts start to lift and enjoy and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm the wrong guy for the cover art on that.
Or is it like an open world where it's like you actually have the ability to be a bad teacher?
You can like go around and like collect pieces of gum from underneath desks and stuff. And it's like there's 6,000 of them around the school.
Or just be like a mean teacher and just like verbally berate kids in front of everyone else or something
press
like
X
that.
to berate.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, but I
You
guess
made your child cry. 10 points.
But I mean, I guess that's it. Like, what would oh gosh. Okay. We just like covered like everything all at once.
And done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's back it up. I mean, like, it's about, you like, let's assume that in the teaching game, your character as a player is a teacher. You are a teacher. So then, I mean, what happens next? I mean, you've got classes maybe that you have to teach. But I mean, how do you score points? How much of this happens with students? How much happens outside? Like, do you get points for like, you did all your marking this week?
Or do you start earlier? Like you got to land the job, like go through the interview process.
Oh, okay.
It really would reflect your value though, wouldn't it?
What do you mean?
If whoever is creating that game, the value of a point and how you score a point, how much would that be? Like really, if you are the creator of the game and you're going to assign 5 points for an A, well, that kind of conveys your point. Your points does not, or sorry, your value that you place on teaching. If it's a point because you threw a chalkboard brush perfectly across the room and kids are like, yeah, you got it in the basket. Like maybe that's your values and maybe you shouldn't teach. Like
because you've never done that, right, Shaun?
Well, I mean, I have, but maybe no. I'm saying more from a skill level. Perhaps you should be like in the NBA if you're getting buckets from across the room with a chalkboard eraser,
or at least a phys ed teacher. Hey, sorry.
But
I taught phys ed for a number.
Well, but maybe that's like the path if you want to become the principal of the school. Like, is that? I wonder if that's the goal of the game, or is the goal of the game for your kids to pass a state-issued standardized test?
Maybe the best question would be, what would you give points to?
Well, I mean, as a teacher in the game, presumably you as the teacher are the one who gets points. Right. So it would have to be something like, your class managed to score, 7 A pluses and 6 Bs and the rest are all Cs.
Right.
So this is how many points you get.
Right? What would you personally assign points for?
Where would I want to get points from?
Yeah, where would you, because I think that's what it would be like really interesting to see is because we've got Twitter as the domain of where teachers say a lot of really pious things that are wonderful. And if I live by just Twitter alone, I would do very well if I was following all teacher accounts. But that conveyance of, again, going back to value, what would you personally, like sitting around this circle, triangle, what would you give points for? And I'm envisioning, because like many different colors of points. Like what is the top level point?
Yeah, because we're going to be free to play, right? So we're going to have like 17 different kinds of points you can earn.
So like
Right.
the heart of your question is there almost like a bias in our current teaching? Like when we're marking, like, am I valuing creativity more than maybe content
Totally.
on certain things? Like I'm bent more towards the creative side of things.
So
like in my current pedagogy,
Yeah.
is that something I'm constantly looking for because that's what I like?
Is this our teacher soul opening back up?
Well, come on. I mean,
what is this?
you can't tell me like you guys have been in classes. Like I remember, I remember being in classes, you know, where a teacher had like a clear sort of topical bias, right? So you know that like I remember this one guy had in high school, and it's like if you want to get a good mark, all you gotta do is write about whales. I'm not making that up.
What?
He did. He just
All right.
loved whales.
All right.
And so, man, if you could talk about whales, you know, great. That's awesome. That's like bonus marks, right? So, I mean, and like, I mean, I don't know if I try not to be biased. I think we all try to be not biased, but look out. I mean, like for me, obviously I got a big thing for film, right? So even in English class, you know, I'd see students sometimes trying to play to that, you know, in some of their writing. And I was like, yeah, but your writing still sucks, right? Like, but there is that. We all do. I think we do have kind of like a bias, like for sure. Like I love seeing my kids, like you probably, like just being creative and coming up with creative solutions. So maybe that's where you get your points from in the game, right? Is like, all right, so this student managed to come up with a divergent solution to your current unit problem or whatever. And so level up. You're now a level 2 teacher mage.
I'm
Half
really
elf.
Yeah, I'm really living in the Sims sort of mentality. I'm trying to switch to like Dungeons and Dragons or something like that, but I can't make the switch because I'm imagining teacher. It's like like
Speaking like the Simlish
and you're like,
language.
level up. I have to go to the bathroom. Like that's so I'm really in like Sims 2, Sims 3, Sims 4.
Yeah, but in the teaching game, you don't get bathroom breaks,
oh,
right?
that's
Or
that's
you
when
do.
you have
like
if
you have to like
5
manage your
points.
coffee intake.
Yeah,
And there's like an irritability meter.
See, now we're going
and
straight
like an
to The Sims.
awakeness meter.
and you can only call in your
My irritability in your meter is way off the charts this last month.
but your ATA card, if you have 5 green points because you made 5 buckets with your chalkboard eraser, then you can call in your union, and that's when you get a bathroom break. So that's kind of like the emergency card.
Oh, okay. So you have to like
how you-
accomplish like right on. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm more of in like the open world idea, like maybe because I actually went and played Skyrim for the first time in like 10 years.
Whoa.
For like a day or two on the break. But there's a plug right there. But
Not a sponsor.
the idea of like completing certain missions or having the choice to complete certain missions, it's like, do you want to go the principal route? Well, maybe later. Or do you want to do this creative project with your kids? Okay, right. So it's like the idea of having that choice to how you would get those points. But
Like maybe, yeah, like I'm totally going like the RPG kind of route here too, right? Like I'm thinking like you have different character classes. Like, you know, you could go
I'll move with you on that.
like
Okay.
you can, you know, go for like Dark Lord. No, that's not a good.
Yeah, that's one
not
of the tracks. You have to give all the tracks. That's the backside of the cover.
Oh, okay, the Dark
yeah,
Lord.
but like because you can't go like a 2D platformer here. Like you can't, your classroom shouldn't be linear. I don't know.
But isn't that a compelling statement? If this is like
Yeah.
like Legend of Zelda 2D platform, your sword does this, and for the listener, I'm moving my arm like a sword motion, and really what you're trying to do is like kill those unanswered questions.
yeah.
Like that's a horrific game to play. I don't want to play it anymore. Yeah,
Well,
I
it's
like
like
the open
it's
source.
closed off to any changes, any paths. Like it's like you have to get through X, Y, Z in order to.
But
finish
but
this.
does not much of the education system
yeah,
base itself on that? Like
like you say, like kind of like gated, like just
yeah.
back and forth linear.
this is where you get to. This is the path. You'll pass the mushroom house by
right.
level 7, and you'll get through the gate because you have the key now because you finished unit 3 and 4. And is there not actually a far more beautiful expression with a absolutely open source world?
Yeah.
Of and not just like I think we actually devalue that whole exploration and this whole Minecraft sort of feel where you go like just go explore, go learn. I think we actually devalue that because we get jaded as teachers and you go, no, you can't explore too much because you have to still
We gotta
pass
stay
my
on schedule.
exam. Yeah, like or oh, that's the bell, stop exploring. But I think actually this is a really deep question because you go, if we write the right video game and it actually reflected what the teaching practice should be, would that not be an absolutely beautiful expression of teaching, of education?
This week's episode of Ed is brought to you by the Edmonton Public Library's podcast, Overdue Finds. Hosted by Bryce Crittenden and Caroline Land, they discuss movies, music, books, and pretty much any sort of popular culture and media you can think of, and likely some you've never thought of. It comes out every 2 weeks, and you can find the show at epl.ca/podcast. I think it would be, but I think if it was going to be, if it was going to be sort of an all-encompassing game, there's going to be, high points, low points. Some of it's going to be ugly. Some of it's going to be really gorgeous, right? Like there's, I think you could throw in some really crazy, boss fights or whatever, right?
Boss fights?
Boss fights. Like I just imagine a giant
power struggle with you and student A. Well, stand up and yell. Whoever yells the loudest wins.
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, then maybe
Yeah.
I just saw Blades of Steel when you were fighting, and there's just like two guys punching.
Some glass jaw.
I would hope the game would end the moment you hit the student once and you just lose.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah,
Game over.
I would hope.
Don't go up against Bald Bull. He was always the hardest in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Too. He was really good.
I don't know.
You didn't play that one?
I don't think so.
Oh goodness.
And I'll have to grab a Raspberry Pi, and I'm sure it's in there somewhere. I'm just thinking like one of your meters maybe is just like sort of relationship, right? You've got irritability, you've got like bladder levels, you've got all this kind of stuff. And maybe like there is that level where it's like, here's a question for, okay, let's assume there's like a sort of a meter that sort of gauges the level of not respect, but like the quality of your relationship with your class overall. And then you've got maybe something else that's like control or like classroom management meter. Yeah. And I mean, how would those be linked?
That's dangerous. Those spectrums are dangerous. Cause like in my practicum with one of my teachers, we didn't always see eye to eye, but like she sat me down one day and she's like, Aaron, she's like, do you want to be liked or do you want to be respected? And she's just like stared at me and I'm just like, those are mutually exclusive?
Huh.
Like what?
That's interesting.
Like, really?
Yeah.
Is that how you view your? And so, I mean, I had to play the game. I had to jump through the hoops, but
go for the respect.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
No. Although, I mean, I know for myself, like, I mean, I've gotten myself into some tough spots in my classroom because I've been too relational, right? And I have a problem right now with a couple students, and it's not all my fault, but it's partly my fault. I know it is because of just the way that I have, tried to be more relational and not hold them to account for poor decisions, poor behavior. Right. And so now I'm having to like claw my way back up this little mountain, and it sucks. It sucks because you have to push harder to get a rock up a hill. You know what I mean? It's really easy to let us slide down.
You just got to storm in the class really hard, man.
Yeah. And just bang a drum hit, creativity.
Tomorrow's your day.
Yep. That's it. Got to go in and yell.
International Creativity Yelling Day.
Yelling combo, Y, X, Z, up, down, left.
Guilt trip bonus.
When you first mentioned this topic, this is exactly what I thought of. Just lots of gaming jokes.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden,
I'm sure people who don't know gaming references are already tuning out.
Oh, it's okay. Bleep, bloop. We'll just throw in a whole bunch of video game sound effects. That's awesome. Yeah. Now we already talked like fighting games. We've talked about RPGs and
I thought of Mario Kart actually, just as like the red shells, just hucking shells at kids or something like that. But each shell is some kind of like piece of knowledge, and which ones blow their minds, and which ones super bad cliche.
It's the blue shell.
The blue shell.
It'd be the blue shell. Again, another gaming reference that some people are like, what? What are these guys talking about?
Well, one of the things you want to do, right, is you want the game to be fun, right? A game has to kind of like reward actions taken, right? So I mean, what are the like beyond like there's points obviously, but what are some of the rewards you're going to get in this game? Because I mean, I have as far as career advancement, I have gone absolutely nowhere in 15 years. I mean, I'm a teacher. That's it. I'm a teacher, right? I mean, and yes, I know there's ways to move up or around or lots of ways to move sideways.
Okay, so what let me rephrase that. So if you look back at your 15 years, what would your rewards have been? Are we talking like now you've got rapport with students, or now your pedagogy's improved so much, or is the reward like you actually have the chance to like pick some options that you actually want to teach?
There
and,
is
and
that.
admin will let you run with it.
Oh yeah. So maybe there's like, like if there's like a skill tree, right? That's the equivalent, right? Of like, a lot of RPGs, you gain skill points for leveling up, and then you can spend them on different skill trees, right?
Admin gives you a bigger budget.
Ha ha ha! Clearly a game and not real life.
That's fantastic.
Your program is cut.
Yep. Anyway, oh man, why'd you have to bring that up?
Sorry.
Oh, thanks a lot. But I mean, so you got these skill points, and you advance. You get advanced different things. Like maybe you want to, like some of your rewards are that you are better able to deal with students relationally. I think that's definitely something that, where my skill tree has grown. I'm better able to, deal with students. I'm better at dealing with outlier situations, where something weird happens and it's like, well, I've seen this twice before and now I know how to deal with it. Right. In 15 years, it's really weird, but it's like, yep, I know how to deal with that now. Right. So there's also that kind of experience that kind of adds up.
I think it'd be okay. Not to go deep again, but I think there would be something actually really cool. Like just listening to you guys talk. Again, I'm not holding to The Sims because I'm not a huge Sims player either. I would prefer much more the RPG route, but I think there's something. This would actually be a really cool game to develop, just for purely reflective practice. Mm-hmm. If you had to put yourself into a game and make all your attributes based on everyone else, so a little bit of comparison game. So like, if you're a brand new teacher, you've never been in a situation and a kid yells and you're like, I don't know what to do. So you can give yourself as 15-year teacher 15 points in that direction. And then just like, it'd be so fun to see, now we're going to make Shane, we're going to put him into the game, see how he reacts. And here's your classroom environment. And it's like, oh man. And then we could all have like kind of the session of sorrow where you're looking at your sim, either sink or swim kind of thing, or else develop lots of levels or burn out or that kind of thing. And it's like, it's almost like computer prediction. Here's your personality type. Here's your typical classroom type, and go. And then it either burns or it's something absolutely beautiful to watch. The other one that I was thinking too, and again, maybe I'm going way too far with this because I like this sort of talk of like, we hear it all the time in the teaching practice, especially again on Twitter, to pick on that one. But think of the most majestic, beautiful mountain scene and somehow tie that into like, this is a student's learning or student's knowledge. And I don't mean to be overly cheesy, but we love those. We quote those in our wins of like, no, I actually saw that. I saw the light turn on for that kid. Well, what's your sort of place that your soul turns on, so to speak? Mm-hmm. So every time you have that experience, you're rewarded with this like majestic scene that only a video game can create. That's absolutely beautiful. And we explore the world and that's the kid's knowledge base and the whole thing. I think that'd be really a cool game just for reflective practice. It sounds very meditative. And again, if things are down in the dumps and you're like, man, I've had a terrible month. Well, welcome to the darkness, or hello darkness, my old friend. Like that would be something that would be actually quite a neat experience, like incredible experience to actually allow yourself to experience the disappointment of that class that went poorly, but not to be defined by it, because you still see the path through this RPG laden environment, and you kind of go, yeah, you're gonna have bad days. Express like all that disappointment, your love for the students, how you feel let down, and then just kind of walk through. I think it'd be huge therapy with this game.
Have you guys ever actually like recorded your teaching practice? Like, has anyone ever like? I was challenged with this in my university program to like actually like set up a camera in the back during your class and then watch yourself. I've never actually done it. I'm just curious because I feel like this is what we're talking about to some degree.
I've thought about that before, but
I think I'd be scared too.
It terrifies me.
Oh yeah, catching like all your ums or all your stutters and pauses, or like,
I had to do that for preaching, but I've never done it in class. I've never actually been observed except in my first teaching or second student teaching experience 9 years ago. So I would love to have more of that sort of experience. Like come in and sure, you might be wrong in your observations or you might have different style. But to put a camera at the back, I don't know if I could watch it.
Yeah, that's scary.
I was talking with another teacher though, like in their entire district, every room has cameras in it. Now it's more for like
security
and like,
Really?
Yeah. But the control for turning it on and off is with the teacher.
Huh.
So like they have like a little fob and they can just start it and stop it whenever they want. And I think you want to record your practice, that'd be kind of convenient, eh? Like just doop, then
I would just make faces at all day.
Yeah. I did that years ago where I literally like, I had this idea for a music video. So I just set up a camera and pointed at this like spot on my floor. And I just like taped out a square on my floor. And then I'd put a different sign on it every morning. So some morning I'd just be like sitting zone and they'd all just go and sit in the square. And then I'd change it like dancing zone. They would dance. And just like, I never said a word, never said anything.
That's awesome.
I had the camera like ubiquitously pointed at this space. And it took about 2 weeks before someone was like, "Hey, are you recording us?" Yes, I am. This thing on a tripod that's pointed at you. Yep.
That's
But
awesome.
I never did anything with it, unfortunately. Which Lee said, I don't even know how do we get here? I don't know.
Recording your practice. That's what.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
Recording
let me
our-
try delve into different routes.
recording our students. Okay, one last thought, and then we'll go into our timeouts. Oh my gosh, I need one now. What would you get for what would health be? Like if you're gonna get power ups or health, what would we
Ooh.
in the game? What would it be like?
Okay, so coffee would be short circuit.
Well-
Like Starbucks would be short circuit. Starbucks from student would be like 7 points.
Yeah,
But straight up Starbucks you had to buy yourself is 5. Tim Hortons would be 3. Like there's some bias there and not a sponsor and all that kind of stuff.
But
But
they're just quick fixes, right? They're like just
Yeah.
a bump up for
Yeah.
30 seconds.
yeah, because if you run into a boss battle, like you can
Yeah.
have 10% more because
Oh,
somebody
that's
got you a
right.
Starbucks.
yeah.
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 Oh,
Where would
oh
else?
no. No, I just thought of something that would be like they would just totally.
It's like having a
Derail this.
lunch without interruptions. Like, is
Yeah.
that like a?
I don't know
Well,
if
I mean,
like that.
the one sort of meter that we're missing is mental health.
Mm.
I think that one would be okay. I think you'd have to take that one outside the game, or not outside the game, but somehow you have to incorporate.
It wouldn't be at
Go
school.
vent to a peer.
well.
There's no possible way your mental
vent
health
to
can improve while you're in the school.
no, but I wonder about like we always say, do you have a hobby? And you're like, and the martyrs amongst us like, I don't have time for hobbies. I'm too busy changing the world. And you're like, actually, you probably should have a hobby because you're going to burn out soon. So I don't know. That seems too lame. Like I just went to Oregon Trail for a moment, but you have like the traveler that comes in and has all the board games on his wagon, and you can buy a bunch of those hobbies or games.
Yeah.
And you know, you could get like crocheting for $500 or whatever. I think it'd have to be a little more compelling than that to actually make any sort of difference on your mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Shane has gotten diphtheria. Shaun was bitten by a snake.
But I shot the bear.
That's right.
That was the best part of that whole game was the hunting. I love
squirrels
that.
are so
bought
hard.
Yeah, that was.
They were
Yeah.
hard to hit.
and they were not worth it.
No. Actually, I liked fording the river too.
Yeah.
Always forded the river.
You didn't hire a guide.
Aaron has cholera.
No, I was too expensive.
No, you never hired the guy. That took away so many points.
I was always amazed that this shows how much I knew about trailers, but trailers had tongues. I was like, my 4-year-old mind was just like, a tongue? What? Because like when you crashed,
Oh, yeah.
when you were crossing the river, it's like, you've lost 2 axles, 1 wheel, and a tongue. What? What?
It was
How
devastating.
did I lose my tongue? Anyway.
That was a great game. Anyway, okay. I feel like we've reached
keep going on
we
track
have
here.
reached the end of the trail.
Mental health meter? Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Good. I see.
See that's
Slow on that pun.
That's the transition. It's all right. It's all good. All right, let's wrap this up. We got timeouts. What are some timeouts you've had?
I don't have time for timeouts. I'm too busy changing the world.
Such a murder.
Too busy fording the river. Getting diphtheria.
Is that even how you pronounce it? I don't even know.
Diphtheria? I think it's right.
I think it's right.
Yeah.
Is it still around?
I don't know.
I don't see a lot of carts.
We're
moving.
laughing at it, so I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope there's no someone out there with diphtheria who's like really offended right now.
Yeah. Shoot.
Sorry.
My apologies to you.
Bleep, bloop, blue.
We're on to timeouts.
Yeah, timeouts.
I got a timeout. I don't really have a timeout. I
No?
think
Okay.
I think it's spring is here. That's a timeout enough. I probably shouldn't share this either, but I will. Timeouts, being outside is always a nice thing, and I don't know why I did this, but I chose to, instead of raking my lawn, I thought it'd be good to just see how fast it would light on fire. And by the time I got to the garden hose, about 10 feet of my lawn was gone. Yeah, it's really fun. I don't know if that's really a timeout, more of just something that I enjoyed.
Timeout. Hey everyone, light your lawn on fire.
Yeah. And just think, like, all the snow mold was gone. I didn't struggle with that at all. It pretty much changed my world. Again, probably not a timeout. I would actually say I've been taking classes. I think the last time I was on the podcast, I was in the middle of a bunch of classes, and it's given me something to strive towards. And so this year since February, I took 4 classes, and I'm almost completed my last one.
Nice.
And I don't know what it is, because you mentioned like being a 15-year teacher but not progressing. I'm struggling with that same thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, you are progressing. Good for you, right?
Well, I don't know if it is actually progression, but it's at least filling some of my goal list. Even though the current class that I'm in has a lot of assignments and a lot of tough things to do, but I've actually enjoyed it. It's given me a goal, especially to get through those tough months like the Februarys and the Marches and that kind of thing. And now that the weather's turning, I want to get it done quickly because I want to be outside and just play.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
There's a timeout for you.
Yeah.
I tried a sport I haven't played in 2 years, and it was a lot of fun. I played hockey for the first time in a long time. I still can skate, and so it was.
How's that feel?
It was I feel really sore, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, my legs were very tired about 5 minutes in, and but it was awesome. It was just a big breath of fresh air, to be a cliche, and
that's all right. Trying something you haven't done in a while, and
it was fantastic.
At hockey, at that, right? There you go.
Exactly, it's playoff
because winter's over. Time to play hockey.
That's right. Backwards thinking.
Welcome to Alberta.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go with an old standard. I'm gonna throw out a movie. I've been watching a lot of movies lately. Somehow, I don't know how I'm managing to fit that into my schedule, but there it is. We're doing a film noir genre study in film studies, so yeah, it's kind of work related, I guess, but it's fun, so it doesn't count. But it's a film from I think 1955 called The Big Combo, and it's if you ever want to show someone what like classic noir looks like, that's the film, like front to back. It's just it's so good. There's just twists and turns and lots of murder and all this. Well, I mean, it's like, gangsters and people, double crossing each other, and just the visual style is just, it's so incredible.
Even the language from those, like the way they talked was just fantastic. Like, here's to you, kid. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's
style.
that kind of thing, right? It's that kind of thing. It's like the dialogue is like that, super snappy, stylized, like just all the way through.
So here's your third challenge: is to walk into your class tomorrow and talk like that.
Yeah. Hey, kids.
All right, kids, turn to page 352.
And by the way, I'm angry about creativity.
Yeah. There you go.
Because that's how they talked, right?
That's all of them, every last one. All right. Well, this has been a great time. Don't you think? It's been great. All right.
Welcome.
This week's episode is also brought to you by Northwest Fest. It's Edmonton's International Documentary Festival. Northwest Fest runs May 2nd to 12th at Metro Cinema, and it features dozens of short and feature-length non-fiction films. And if you're like me, you're probably into empowering our youth, so you can check out Youth Unstoppable, which takes us inside the rise of the global youth climate movement. Slater Jewel Kemker was 15 when she began documenting the untold stories of youth on the front lines of climate change, refusing to let their future slip away. And over the course of 10 years, and set against stunning visuals of a planet in crisis, Youth Unstoppable follows the evolution of a diverse network of youth rising up to shape the world that they'll live in. Tickets and passes are available at northwestfest.ca, and you can use the discount code APN2019 to get 10% off any general admission ticket except for opening night. And choose the shows you want to see at northwestfest.ca, then apply the discount code APN2019 at checkout. And if you want to get in touch or you want to be a guest on this show, you can email me at theedpodcast@gmail.com or hit me up on Twitter at theedpodcast. If you'd like to listen to more of Ed, you can head over to the website, theedpodcast.podbean.com, or you can find us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or the podcatcher of your choice. Just search up Ed Conversations. Ed can also be heard on Voice Ed Radio. It's 24-hour internet broadcasting devoted to the best ideas in education. Just head over to voiced.ca. So, on behalf of myself, and Shaun, and Aaron, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.